Hi, this is Richard at MyWheelAdapters.com, bringing you the mystery of the broken stud, a real-life story from MyWheelAdapters.com. I have a customer who purchased a wheel adapters from me and then broke a couple of studs. Okay, and he says, well, I've only had them a couple of days and I want you to send me another adapter. Okay, here's the front side of the adapter, here's the back side of the adapter, and sure enough, there's a couple of broken studs and looks like a bent one. Okay, my question, how could this happen? Is there any failure in the structure of the adapter? And if there's no failure in the structure of the adapter, then how can studs just break off? And if the studs were to just break off, how could only two break off and leave the other four intact? If in fact the wheel was tight against the adapter and everything was screwed down evenly and straight like it's supposed to be, how do you just break two studs and not all of them? So, this is the question before us. So, let's act like CSI and look at the evidence. Here's the adapter again from a different angle. We see that the studs are broke off above the surface of the adapter. There is no cracks in the adapter. There's some markings here, but there's no cracks anywhere around the studs, no apparent weakness near the studs, and all of them are still tight in the aluminum, but these two are broken off and this one apparently bent. Okay, so I don't see any failure there. Of course, we looked at the back of the adapter earlier. Absolutely no problem there. You can see the markings where it was on the vehicle, but nothing wrong. You know, this side looks fine, the back side. So let's look at the wheel then. If the adapter, let's look at the other part of the equation. Let's look at the back of the wheel. First thing I want to notice on the wheel is this ring, this raised ring around the middle of the wheel. Okay, and then you have another ring around the outer part of the wheel past the lug nuts here. Alright, just something for you to notice here. And there's a space in the middle. So this is up maybe a 1/16 of an inch here, and then it drops down, it comes across, it goes back up again. So it's not a flat surface. Okay, let's go back and look at the adapter a little closer. On the edge of the adapter I noticed that this was marked, but not just on the face, the upper flat part of the adapter, it was marked across the edge. Okay, coming down the edge, see how it comes down the edge of the adapter right here. That was kind of an issue. Alright, well, let's look at the adapter again. In the middle, from this angle, I can see all this area around here has scuffs and scarring on it. Okay, and also all the way around the edge of the adapter, which extends, like I said before, over the face of the adapter, over the edge. Okay, over the edge of it here. Now that is important because I'm going to explain to you what happened. Okay, also notice here that there's a groove here, See, that's not just flat. That's a little groove has been worn in to this aluminum from movement. It is movement of the wheel that has caused this groove. The wheel got loose from the adapter and is what broke the studs. Now, because the wheel got loose, it broke the studs. The reason the wheel got loose is another story. I understand that the installer may be well experienced and everything, and this was an easy miss, actually. But because the way the wheel is made and the size of the adapter, it caused a situation here. Okay, let me get the right picture up here. This one shows the picture pretty well. This is another one of the adapters. Okay, now I don't have this to physically manipulate it in front of you to show you, but you'll have to understand what I'm saying. If this right here was the top of the adapter, okay, when they bolted this piece onto the vehicle, and this stud was up, this direction was up, okay, they set the wheel on here and see it mark, see that little mark on that stud right there. The edge of the hole on the wheel was sitting right against this mark right here, or right against that stud right there. Then run a lug nut down on the lower part of the wheel to pull it in and pull it tight. And I've done it 1,000 times. That's, you know, that's the way you can easily do it. You set the wheel up on there, and then you run a lug nut on the lower part of the wheel. It pulls it in to the vehicle, and then you finish tightening it up. Okay, but in this situation, because of the adapter with these rings, I mean the back of the wheel with these rings, the stud set to one side of this hole, like, you know, the adapter, that stud would be sitting to the top of the hole right here. The bottom edge of the adapter, when this is pulled in tight, the bottom edge of the adapter get inside this loop, or inside this outer ring on the wheel, causing it to cock. Okay, so that this part, this half of this ring is contacting the adapter, but this half of this ring is not contacting it as well. And the wheel was off from top to bottom a little bit, and this edge, the edge of the adapter set down in this hole here. Okay, so it was uneven. Although it may have been, you get tight, it's not straight. Okay, and then as you run down the road, from it not being straight, it works loose. Okay, because although they may have tightened them down, they weren't straight, and it wasn't, the edge of the adapter didn't come out here to the outer edge of this and make everything flush and flat. So because the wheel wasn't centered up exactly, the wheel got loose and broke the studs on the adapter. It's not the fault of the adapter. But anyway, I'm still going to send some replacement studs for the adapter, and explain that ET lug nuts need to be used in this situation, which will fill the extra space in this hole with lug nut, centering it up better and making it where the wheels will stay on the adapters. But anyway, This is Richard with MyWheelAdapters.com. Have a great day.